guys, I'm Thatbakerlady, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a cake flower pot. So these were originally for my kids' cake kits for Earth Day, kind of, but I wanted to do it as like an early Mother's Day cake. So if any of my kiddos are watching this, you guys can be pros for Mother's Day next month and make this again with maybe some different flowers that your mom likes or grandma or whoever you're making it for. Okay, so I have my 5-inch cake. I have my 7-inch board. I have 2 piping bags with my frosting, and it's like a reddish brown. I put a little bit of brown and a little bit of a holiday red in my frosting to dye it. I have my cake scraper, my frosting scraper, and a knife. I have 2 containers with some cookie crumbs, and I just did golden and the regular chocolate Oreos for these. Just kind of crushed them up until I like the consistency of that. And I have a little bit of my reddish brown fondant that I'm going to be using, and this is way too much fondant, so I was hoping that if you kiddos liked making the flower pot, you guys felt comfortable with it, and you wanted to make it again for Mother's Day, you probably should have enough to do 2 cakes out of these. So I wanted you guys to have it, but just in case, I do have a YouTube video with my fondant recipe and my step-by-step with that. Or you can always just message me on Instagram at Thatbakerlady. I also have some flowers, and these flowers, you guys, I just got at the Dollar Tree. So I thought they were really pretty, not too girly. If I had a couple boys doing the kits, I didn't want too much pink. And then I have some of my filling. So I'm gonna go ahead and start filling my cake. And what I'm using is a cream cheese mousse for this cake, and I have my chocolate cake to go with that. So what I'm doing with my filling, I'm just doing a circle like this and filling in that circle so that it all kind of matches, and I have filling left over. I always put too much filling, too much frosting, just in case I have to like run back and go make some more. You can hear my gardeners are here today. But it's okay, we're gonna get through. I'm gonna talk as loud as I need to. Alright, so we have our cake filled. The second thing we're gonna do is cut the cake. So again, it's a flower pot, so we wanna make sure we have that shape and we're not losing it as we're frosting. So what I wanna do, I'm not gonna touch my top layer at all. I'm gonna start kind of curving like a V shape all the way around it. And let me show you. You guys can see. Just like that. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that all around and kind of stand up so I can see what I'm doing here. And I'm just trying to like get that angle very fine and even. If you don't, that's fine. You can always fix it with your frosting if you take off too much. So I don't know if this is gonna be completely even, but you can kind of see it already. My little curve. I haven't done that side. Alright. Yeah, I thought this like garden kind of flower power cake would be really cool for Earth Day, but then I thought, oh my god, that would be so neat if everyone learned how to make this cake now, and you guys can make it for Mother's Day on your own. So you always have this video to reference if you ever wanted to do that this year or next year. Make your mom a cake, your aunt, your Nina, anybody. Alright, so I chopped up my cake. Here's that. Again, it's not even. It's almost better to take off too much than not enough, because when we're scraping it or when we're adding our frosting, we can kind of give it the shape that we want with that. and play with it. If we don't take off enough when we're scraping it, you're gonna see the bread. So I guess it's always better, as long as it's not too top heavy, because again, we are gonna add a little bit of fondant for that rim on the top. Now I'm just cleaning off my board. All right, and we're gonna start our frosting. So I want to start on the bottom, just go around the circle and do the same thing, continuing up. Okay, so again, just in case our chopping is kind of wonky, crazy, wild, fun, another thing you can do is, as you're adding your frosting around it, so right now I only have one layer, you can add a second layer to kind of make it gradually whiter up on top. So you can add another layer. And sorry, when I'm making these videos, you guys, I forget words, like all the words in the world. I can't remember for the life of me. So be patient with me. All right. So I just put the remainder on top, and I'm gonna go ahead and get my other bag, which I'm not gonna use nearly as much as I need to. Do my, okay, so this is my cake so far. And you see how I did that double layer up on top to give it more of a drastic cone shape, if you will. All right, so now we are ready to clean our frosting. Now, usually what I tell you guys to do is put the frosting scraper completely flat and move your left hand with your right hand being still, but we don't want our edges to be perfect. We need that angle. So what we're going to do, and I don't know if I can do it with my table, we are gonna hold our hand at that angle and move the left hand to move the cake, or you can, like, if you don't have a turntable, you can always turn your board a little bit. So let's see. It's always a good idea to have tons of paper towels with you. I know I am super messy when it comes to making cakes. All right, so I like the shape that I have. Now I'm going to go back and I'm gonna kind of add frosting into those little gaps I have. Now, we use the same knife that we had, our little plastic knife. And go ahead and just add some frosting into that. I'm gonna use this as like a bowl and kind of take from that up on top. Now this cake is pretty simple cake, and it was kind of exciting to see how much people loved it and were like, wow, that's really a cake, how cool is that? And it's so simple, you guys. Anybody can do it. You might lose the shape, but they'll still know what it is with all your little details. Okay, so I'm just trying to fill in my gaps still. Alright, I will smooth the top. Alright, so right now I'm just smoothing the top out a little. I don't want my cake to be too top heavy. So I'm gonna hit it again with this frosting scraper. Now my hand's at an angle and I'm not moving that angle. I'm moving my left hand to move the board. All right. And it doesn't have to be perfect. The shape, I guess, is the most important thing. Your frosting not being as smooth is totally fine. All right, one more right here, and then I can start smoothing down my top. So I'm bringing my scraper to me. I am kind of eyeballing it to make it level throughout the whole top. Now this, I'm going to show you. The middle has those lines from my knife, and you don't have to fix those because we're going to be adding those cookie crumbs and it's going to hide all of that. So there's no need to kind of spend any time doing that. I'm going to check my edges. All right, yeah, I like it. Oh, I just dropped my knife on myself. Okay, so here's my cake. I'm gonna clean my board off. Now we can start making our fondant. And that's just gonna add a rim to this flower pot of ours. Give it a little bit more dimension, I guess. I'm just getting frosting all over myself. Okay, so there's that. Let me move some of my mess so that I can start showing you guys that fondant. I'm gonna move my cake out of the way. Now in our bag of fondant, we have a little bit of Crisco or shortening, and I'm gonna put that directly onto the table. I dropped my knife, so I'm just grabbing a new one. So we have, I know you can't see my face, sorry. But I'd rather you guys be able to see what I'm doing here. So again, we have our shortening. I'm gonna go ahead and do like a huge line for that. Again, you're not gonna use all of it, so I just kind of cut it in half. Roll this fondant. See? And all I'm doing is just rolling back and forth, making sure that it's even, that it's not too thick on one side. All right, just like that. Now on this shortening line, go ahead and put your fondant, and it's much longer. Let's see if I'm kind of losing it a little bit. Okay, so now all I'm gonna do is take my fingertips and push down to kind of flatten that out, and I'll show you right now. So see, I just use my fingertips. Now it's nice and flat. We can turn it around and the table's gonna give it a nice smooth look. Our fingertips will be on the back side. So go ahead and do that. If you kind of lose the shape, you can like push it back together a little bit. Okay. Should be nice and smooth. Our fondant is nice and fresh and smushy. All right, so now I'm just gonna push it together, making sure that it's even. The thickness is even throughout my whole rope. Okay, so I like this. I'm happy with it. Now what I'm gonna do is put it directly onto my cake. And you have your knife, so you're gonna have to cut it. It's gonna be way too long. Right now mine's like super long. We don't need it that long. And so I'm gonna cut my edge off, just so that I have a nice flat or straight end on each side. But I'm only doing one side because I don't know how much I'm gonna have to cut off yet. And you wanna put it on your cake so that you have a little bit of room on top. So kind of like half on the cake, half above it, so that you have a taller cake and your cookie crumbs are inside of that, so they're not just like floating on top of the pot. Sorry, I have an audience today, guys. Okay, so that's good. And look at how much I'm gonna be cutting off, and I cut it in half already, my fondant. So I'm gonna go ahead and just push that against my finger to cut it, bring that together so that my edges meet. And it's a little too tall on that side, but it looks great. Okay, so I have a layer up on top. Next, we're gonna be putting our cookies, our cookie crumbs. And again, these are just golden chocolate Oreos, and I just mashed them up a little bit till I liked them. We can put the whole container right on top and then kind of spread it out a little bit as we'd like. Okay, so this is with one. So the next we're gonna just like fill in the gaps, because I like to have it nice and full. And if some fall on the floor, that's totally fine. Or fall on your board or anything. Dirt's messy. It's okay. You guys are shaking the table. All right, I got a wild audience over here. Okay, so I'm just filling in those gaps, kind of trying to cover my frosting, even though it's brown anyway, so it's gonna look like dirt. But I like to have my cookie crumbs throughout the whole thing. And we're almost done. All you have to do is like add on the flowers. Next time you guys can add whatever flowers you want. Please send me a picture. I would love to see it, whether you make this in the cake kits or for Mother's Day. Okay, so I have some extra. I'm just gonna kind of throw it here and there. All right, so let me add on my flowers. So cute. I'm gonna put my blue and my green flower first. And then kind of add this here and there. Just like that. So here is my flower pot cake. I really hope you guys, oh, let me move this all in my face. I really hope you guys like this video. Please don't forget to send me a picture if you make it. Please tag me on Instagram at Thatbakerlady. I'd really like to know what you guys think about it and how you like it. Again, I got so many people, like such good reviews about the cake itself. Everyone loved it. And now you guys see how easy it is, so you guys can do it and you're just gonna astonish everybody. So happy Earth Day, happy early Mother's Day. Thank you guys